Welcome to Leverage Point On-Demand Training. In this installment, we will introduce value communication and why it is important. Prior to starting this learning module, you should have reviewed videos on value modeling, which give you an overview of the Leverage Point platform as well as cover the basics of building a value model. If you haven't watched those videos yet, you may want to quit this lesson now and review those first. In this next set of videos, we'll cover how to use the Leverage Point tool to communicate value. First, I think it would be helpful to provide some big picture context of how value models and value communication fit together. By this time, you have probably already built, or at least be very familiar with, a value model. And here we see the output from our last chapter, namely an economic value estimation or EVE model for a fictitious company Airventus and their offering BTR system. As you know, value models are very important in guiding your overall product and customer segmentation strategy, not to mention for setting value prices as well. This is primarily an internal focus. Its purpose is to help make better product decisions. However, the job does not end there. The next important task is to communicate value to customers. Without an effective value proposition, like we see here, all our hard work in building a value model may go to waste. Therefore, the purpose of value communication is to create interactive sales content that salespeople can use to move customers forward in their purchase decision for your product. Here's a few facts to hammer home the importance of this. Multiple sources report that most new products miss their revenue and/or profit goals 3 out of 4 times. That's only a 25% success rate. No company would ever tolerate losing 3 out of 4 customers, so we need to do better. Turns out that the chief reason for these misses is poor value communication, specifically positioning statements that are not centered on customer needs and not making connection to the customer business. So this is where the value communication tool comes into play. Not only is it useful for communicating value to customers, it's also a great format to use during executive level meeting inside your company too, like for example, gate review meetings. Now before we get started on the mechanics of value communication, a few words of caution. Make sure your value model is ready. By that I mean that you have a clear idea of your value positioning relative to the next best competitive alternative, and that you have at least one well thought out value driver to test. If not, go back and revise the value model. Next, avoid TMI, too much information. It is the most common mistake we see. Often this is caused by too many value drivers or overly complex calculations for relatively minor positive value. So, if you end up with a large list of value drivers, consider doing some pruning. You can merge value drivers into common themes. Say, take 4 distinct labor value drivers into one larger consolidated one. Or you can remove value drivers that are simply too small to talk about. My general advice is fewer but larger value drivers tell a better story than several smaller ones. Third, plan to dedicate some quality time for working on value communication. I find it's best to do this separately from the value model work, and often it requires bringing in other team members with expertise in creating marketing and sales content. Finally, be prepared to test value communications often. Iteration has a huge impact on quality, so don't keep it hidden from potential reviewers. Okay, with that we are ready to revisit the marketing homepage. For those with the marketing homepage selected as their default homepage, this is what you will see when you log into Leverage Point. It opens on the Value Models tab, which is the list of all the value models that you have permissions to. Next to this is the Value Propositions tab. I'll click on that. This shows a list of all the active published value propositions that you have permissions for. On top we see the one we want, Airventus cooling system training example. Notice that this value proposition is based on the value model with the same name, which is the one that we worked on in the previous chapters. Let's open this value proposition. You can do so by clicking the name of the value proposition. The value proposition opens in a new tab. Value propositions are formatted based on templates, much like PowerPoint presentations are. This particular value prop uses the Airventus presentation view template, In a later chapter, we will discuss how to select a template for your value proposition, but this specific template should not be used for any of your live projects. Your configuration should have a generic template for you to use for your projects. However, newer templates, including customized ones for specific products, can be created. If you're interested in a specialized template, please email your LeveragePoint administrator, your LeveragePoint contact, or the customer success team at customersuccess@leveragepoint.com. I'll give you a quick tour of this example template. It starts with an overview message page briefly introducing the product that we will be talking about today. Next, we have a business impact page describing the 3 areas of value which we will be talking throughout the presentation. Following is a pie chart quickly overviewing the amount of value that our offering brings to the potential customer. The key parts of this pie chart include the total value created in the top left-hand corner, the ability to change the unit of measure for this proposition via this drop-down, key variables, which you can see on the bottom of this screen, and a pie chart talking about each individual value driver and how much value is created per the unit of measure that we have selected. On this slide, we have chosen 3 variables to make it easy for sales users to customize this analysis for a specific customer. Say, for example, I want to change the projected average cost per kilowatt from 0.125 cents to 0.13. I can simply click on the variable to change the figure, and you can see the results update. Next, we'll look at the other pages in this value proposition. The following 3 are value driver pages for energy, downtime, and maintenance. The template will create a separate page for each of these value drivers. This template follows the generic layout, which is a pie chart with a specific value driver highlighted. The value driver name you gave in the value model tool is automatically shown here, as well as the value and the current display unit of measure, as well as a link to the formula itself. Click Learn More to show the formula you created. Here, the salesperson can change any variable as appropriate. I'll change the estimated reduction in direct maintenance costs with BTR system from 100% to 75%. And again, the results update. The value driver page also has a space here for a value message and other variables. We'll explain how to add these in our next chapter. The next 2 pages reveal a comparison tab and a table tab. This one is a total cost of ownership table. Frequently, table slides like this are used to show total cost of ownership like we see here. These are popular because many customers are familiar with them and because they are easy to interpret. The shorter bar means less cost or more value. On the left is a table comparing the next best competitive alternative, NTG System, and Urventis, and this information is graphed on the right. One cool feature of this page is that I can click on the legend to turn on and off specific bars. We'll explain how to create tables in a later chapter. The final slide, Value Analysis, has many of the same features that you saw on our earlier value created slide with the pie chart, except there's a graph on the left. But as you can see, there's a corresponding value summary table on the right, as well as key variables along the bottom. Your value proposition may look different or have different customization options. Feel free to explore what is and isn't editable by clicking and changing numbers. Value propositions are all in a read-only state, so you cannot save any changes against the master copy. This concludes this installment, Value Communications.